So I want to spend a few moments just talking about the news, the latest news about Anderson Silva and the failed drugs test. Do you know that Anderson Silva was tested 3 times between the start of the year and his match? And one of them we know has come back okay, but the pre-fight one that he took shows steroids. It shows 2 different types of steroids. Now, it has to be said first that the Commission has overturned the result, which was that Anderson Silva won, but he won by points, by decision. They've overturned that to a no contest. Anderson Silva has said it's not true, he didn't take any drugs, he's going to fight it, blah, 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 blah. And there's been a strange reaction from a lot of the people that I know, talking about how this damages his legacy, blah, blah, blah. Do you know, I've said many things about Anderson Silva because I started doing this just before his sort of meteoric rise, just when he was about to come back into the UFC. Before his UFC run, he looked sort of a little bit normal. He won most of his fights, but he would lose the odd 1 or 2. When he came into the UFC, he was winning very, very quickly. And my first criticism, I suppose you could say, was that they were fast-tracking him to the title. I did say that. I still think that at the time they fast-tracked him to the title. The institution wanted him to be, you know, a poster boy for them. He fought and got the championship. He defended it several times. He would have a habit of defending it even if he was injured at the time. And I later said that I thought that the amount of times that he's won and the ways in which he's won, i.e. finishing, do show that he has brought the necessary requirements in hindsight to have worked his way up to the title and got it anyway. Do you know, the next thing that I said about him was a bit of a sort of critique, and that was that, you know, I felt that he was possibly getting bored, that he had a habit of not being lazy, but if the styles were wrong for him, he had a habit of almost not fighting. You know, he's a counter striker and he would wait until somebody came in so that he could counter that. And if that person didn't do anything, then he would sort of just wait a little bit. There was a lot of dancing going on and less fighting. And it sort of showed really in his attitude and the way that he used to play, really, with some of the people that he was fighting against. And instead of finishing them, he'd sort of, almost like some sort of, you know, large cat, he'd play with them before he, you know, finished them off. I remember that that Dana White once decided that he wasn't going to bother giving, you know, Anderson Silva the belt that he won because, you know, of his attitude. And the other thing that annoyed me was he refused basically to speak English. Now, I know that the UFC is a global thing. I know that it attracts global fighters, but their primary audience is English speaking. And I don't believe that Anderson Silva, even before his time in the UFC, was unable to speak English. I think he chose not to. And the reason, one of my main reasons for thinking that was, he used to be in one of the British promotions, and still never spoke English. You know, I think it was unnecessarily rude of him, considering who he was. Now, He, of course, went on to create such a legacy that he just never lost, beat everybody, etc., etc., etc. And a lot of people, have put him in the same brackets as George St. Pierre, as sort of Matt Hughes, as one of the greatest people, BJ Penn of the upper classes, the upper weight classes, if you like. One of those people who is a definite name. John Jones, Josie Aldo, he's able to say that he's done the work now to earn him that sort of place. Now, a lot of people were also very slow in admitting his downfall, and that came at the hands of Chris Reedman a long time before he actually sort of had a nasty injury to his leg. And a lot of people were saying, it was a bad night for Anderson Silva, in a rematch that would never happen. And in a rematch, something even worse happened. And the way that his leg broke, it was quite obvious that it was about as career-ending as you get, really. He was off for a very long time, and this was his debut return, which he won on points, didn't finish somebody who the old Anderson Silva would have done. Now, okay, you can say ring rust if you want, he's been out for a long time, but then the result comes back positive for drugs, and you think to yourself, was he using all along? Now, my thoughts on this are no. I don't think he needed to use the drugs before the accident. I really don't. I think that the chances of winning that many and not being caught out are about as astounding as winning that many in the first place. So for him to have sort of doubled his luck, if you like, not only won that many but also won that many without getting caught, it's just not likely to have happened, in my view. If you want to know the reason he took drugs, my best guess is that injury, either in the recovery process or because the recovery wasn't going so well. This is what he should have done. He should have retired. That should have been career-ending, and he should have retired. What he's done is been unable, basically, to perform to the level that he used to, and so in order to try and do that, he's used substitutes, he's used drugs when he shouldn't. So, do I think this has damaged his legacy? No, actually, I think his legacy was pretty solid. I think his legacy is sort of intact. I think it's genuine. And me saying that is, it's true, because I've just told you of all the ways in which I've criticised him, in the past for various things, criticised the institution for, putting him in that position, too soon or whatever, for his attitude, etc. I do, however, think that was genuine. I think now the chances are quite high that he will fight this but resign either way. What I don't really want to see is him coming back after this. I certainly don't want to see him, in any sort of contention. His time has passed. Okay, his time has passed. It was passed without the drugs anyway, but I think the drugs just show you that, even he is beginning to see that he can't perform to the same level unless he's taking something he shouldn't. So, and whether he was just unlucky in getting caught, I don't know, because that's another thing. There is this cynical view taken by some hardcore fans that, they're all on it. It's just that you never catch them out because they're very good at cycling it, so that when they have the tests, they show up negative even though they're taking it. If you had been Anderson Silva and you'd won so many 4 years in a row, then to make that sort of mistake is just not going to happen, is it? So my best guess is also that the fact that he has, the fact that it has shown up is also proof that he's not used to taking them. He doesn't, usually, etc., etc. So I suppose I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt. Not sure what everybody else thinks, and I don't usually sort of do a video like this, but I thought it was a little bit of a talking point, and I'd give my 2 pennyworth. Why not?